what is amazing about The Office fans is, and I have said, and it is true, like the best gift that I have been given from the show is truly being able to experience from the inside how much the show means to people. I mean, like truly means to people. And it's bizarre because I try to think of myself and translate their love for the show in me for something else. And it's hard for me to find, but what I'm talking about is like people's desire and need to tell me how much the show has meant to them, how much the show meant to them in a really dark time in their lives.
Yeah.
That the show brought them comfort, made them feel better, healed them in some ways. And I mean, military veterans or people who have gone through an incredible loss in their life or a medical condition, and that they want to tell the story. And so do I like it? I mean, it's
draining.
It's very draining.
It's amazing, but it's also like when everybody's doing it, you're like, you want to give them the attention, you want to give them the love, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted.
Exactly. And I know that sounds like, oh, poor you, having to sit there and listen to people love you. I know it's crazy, but like that, because that was an Office convention.
Right.
I think it was slated to go from 9 to 6. And I didn't take a lunch break. I did not leave because of the people waiting.
Talk to every last person.
I was there until about 8:15.
Yeah. I think it's a beautiful thing when you connect with someone and they tell you what the show meant to them, and you're surprised. You're like, how could this, something that was just funny and goofy and we had fun, and I was getting paid for, how could this mean so much to you? But then when you try to wrap your head around it, it's a little confusing, but it's also a beautiful thing. And what I meant to say is not that it's like you get drained. It's just like, you do a podcast for an hour.
Right.
You don't want to talk anymore.
Right. Right.
I don't want to do more than an hour with you. It will not go over an hour.
Right.
So imagine you're there for 9 hours of talking to people.
Right.
It's just naturally you're going to be exhausted.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
it does mean a lot to me.
Sure.
It really does. And I think that specifically the show, in a lot of ways, how it was constructed, I've talked a lot about this on my podcast. When I talked to the other cast members that I sat down with, one of the questions that I asked everybody was about the last line of the show and what that meant to them. And clearly Greg Daniels, the creator, wrote the last episode. So he wrote the last line, and the last line goes something like, why did they decide to do a documentary about a paper company? Well, I think it's a great subject. It's about beauty in ordinary things. Isn't that kind of the point? And I think that celebration of the ordinary for The Office, that these people have meaning. Spoiler alert, we weren't like friends, right? Like we weren't like on the cover of Cosmo and doing all of the glamorous stuff. I'm talking about the actors too, who were on the show.
Right.
We were a group of ordinary people who were assembled by a great casting director to work together in this place. And that celebration, I think, is what responds to people.